I was outspent. I was the underdog. I had to completely build name recognition. Nobody knew who I was. And I had to do it all. And it was just grinding it out, hard work. I had to go to all these events. I had to speak in front of them. I had to just shake as many hands as I could, pass out flyers. I did everything. And up until the day that the election, the other guys thought they were going to beat me. So this is his chief deputy running. They thought they were going to beat me. I said, we're not losing. We're going to win 60-40. And we won 63 to 37% that race.
No way.
In 2011, I just didn't like the direction of the country. I thought they were undermining the rule of law. And remember, the rule of law to me is the most important piece of America, stabilizing it. And they know that, which is why they said they were going to fundamentally transform America.
What was happening in 2011 that made you think that?
Obama.
What about him?
He would what they were doing was really creating a rift between communities and law enforcement. You know, anytime we did something, and mind you, this is all kind of timing at the same time with people having cell phones and being able to record things on the streets. This is all coming about, iPhones are kind of coming out in the late 2000s, around 2010. And so now you're seeing videos of police out there doing their job or roughing somebody up. And I'll be the first to tell you, we're not in the business of good optics. I mean, when you call us, we're expected to deal with problems. Or if we find problems on the streets, then we're expected to deal with it. We can't just look the other way. And so we're not in the business of good optics usually. And so what you see a lot of times is we were seeing the politicians really start to create a rift between community and law enforcement. And that undermines the rule of law. And so what happens then is you start getting people, and this kind of goes to your question, it kind of starts getting people elected into office on the basis of we're going to hold the police accountable, or basically saying to the people, you're not wrong, the cops were wrong. And that's dangerous. And then what happens is you start undermining the rule of law. You stop holding people accountable, and then you want to only hold cops accountable, putting body cameras on us, which we're okay. I think we should have body cameras on all the politicians in Washington, D.C., right?
I've never heard that before. That's genius.
Put them on them. But we have body cams, and now everything starts to change. And so I could see where we were going. I thought it was dangerous. And so instead of being the guy that sits and just bitches about it, I thought, I'm going to do something about it. So I'm standing there in our gang unit, little room, and I just said, I'm going to run for sheriff. They said, yeah, you're crazy. I said, no, I'm going to run for sheriff. They said, get out of here. And I said, okay. I put in my application to go to Pinal County. 6 months later, a year later, I was over there at Pinal County with the intention of running for sheriff eventually. But this is 2011, I said I would run for sheriff. I went to Pinal in 2012 and spent 2 years there. And then told my wife one day, I said, honey, I think it's about time to leave and start to lay the groundwork. I got to go make money so that I can run for sheriff. And so I went to reserve status, and then I went back out into the private sector and built a marketing company. And we ended up being a solar company right before I ran for office. But that was what was able to get me financially to be able to do the sheriff thing. But really, it was large in part because I couldn't stand to see what was going on. I couldn't watch as our country was changing, fundamentally changing. And I wanted to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Why did you pick Pinal County?
Because I lived in Pinal County. So you have to live in the county. If you're going to run for sheriff, you got to live in whatever county that you're going to run for sheriff in. Okay.
The way you'd articulated it meant I thought maybe you had moved to Pinal County to run for sheriff. So
I moved to Pinal in 2008, but I decided to run for sheriff in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
A whole new experience. I told you earlier, I think life is about challenging yourself, finding your greatness, like Governor Bradford this goes to politics. You know, Governor Bradford was on the Mayflower, and he wrote the Mayflower Compact. And he has a quote that says, all great accomplishments are accompanied with great difficulties, and both must be enterprised and overcome with answerable courage. And so getting into it, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but this is where you find out what your courage level is, you know. I'd been doing it as a gang and drug detective. You're running into buildings that everything inside of you tells you don't run into that building, or, you know, you're dealing with people with guns and you're running towards the fire and the problems as opposed to running away from it. And so you condition yourself to continue to look for opportunities to test your courage level. This is a different type of test, but, you know, putting yourself out there into the public, putting your family on the line, that was a whole new thing. And it's probably better you don't know fully what you're getting into, because you probably wouldn't do it if you did.
I could imagine. Who were you running against?
So we had a sheriff that at the time, his name was Sheriff Babu. He had done a lot of great things in the office, but I was banking on the fact he was going to run for Senate or Congress. So I put in my paperwork, and sure enough, he ran for Congress. I almost didn't do it though. I was in Utah. I was running my company, my marketing company. A lot of the work we were doing was in Utah. This was in like probably August of 2015. And I called my wife one day and I said, honey, I've been reading a lot about running for sheriff and politics, and business is going good. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to do it. We can do it again in 4 years or 8 years. Let's just see what happens. And she said, you know, in true typical fashion, she's like, I understand, I support you. Well, for the next 2 days, I could not shake the feeling. I would wake up in the morning, all I could think about is running for sheriff. All day long working, all I could think about was sheriff, sheriff, sheriff. And so 2 days later, I called her back and I said, screw it, let's do it. And so we jumped into it and just worked hard. And I had this feeling that if I would do it the way that I needed to be done, and I put in the work, that God, or whatever you believe in, for me it's God, would take care of the rest. Work hard, have a good attitude, he'll take care of the rest. And so I was outspent. I was the underdog. I had to completely build name recognition. Nobody knew who I was. And I had to do it all, and it was just grinding it out, hard work. I had to go to all these events. I had to speak in front of them. I had to just shake as many hands as I could, pass out flyers. I did everything. And up until the day that the election, the other guys thought they were going to beat me. So this is his chief deputy running. They thought they were going to beat me. I said, we're not losing. We're going to win 60-40. And we won 63 to 37% that race.
No way. Wow.
And it was just hard work, grinding it out. Being a candidate and doing the job are two completely different things, though. Then the rubber meets the road, you know. You can say whatever you want as a candidate. Let's see how you actually do it when you get the job. And over the last 8 years, just really a lot in part because of the people I've surrounded myself with and the type of leadership I bring to the table, I think we've created something really special in Pinal County. Like, we have people from all over the country that know who we are. As a matter of fact, for law enforcement, for Facebook followers across the country, the number one agency for Facebook followers is the FBI. Number two is the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. We passed up the NYPD.
Man, that is pretty incredible.
But it's because we decided to take a different approach, a marketing approach. I took a business approach to it. I looked at it as if it was a business where the shareholders are the taxpayers. And I'm expected to give them return on investment. I'm expected to give them reports as to how we're doing. And instead of you being afraid of social media, which a lot of law enforcement people are, we embraced it. We said, okay, we're going to use this to our advantage. And I have to recruit. I'm competing with the Phoenix market. I'm competing with agencies that pay a lot more. So we had to create a product that cops wanted to be cops again. And they had to be willing to take a pay cut to be able to come and work for the sheriff's office. And we have never lacked in people wanting to come and work for us because of how we allow our guys to be cops.
No kidding.
We tell them, you want to be a cop? Come here. You want to drive, chase people? You want to go find the bad guys? We support you here. And then you have to go out and actually show your people that's the case. And that's what we did.
How long did it take you to really gain the respect of your county? I mean, your county loves you.
Blessed.
The whole country, as far as I'm concerned, everybody that I never see anything bad on you. People just love you. And so what, was there a turning point or was it gradual?
Live PD came to us right after we started. And I'm like, dude, I'm like a baby deer on ice here. Like, I don't even know. I gotta get my feet underneath me here. I don't even know what I'm doing yet. So about 6 months into it, I told my chief, I go, hey, call Live PD back and see if they want to do this. And
what's Live PD?
Live PD is like Cops, but It was live. And it was the #1 show on TV. At the time it was getting there, eventually it became the #1 show on TV. And so, but you got to you're putting yourself out there. You're showing everybody live how your guys do. And so we took on Live PD, and that really is what got us moving. And we did a show called 60 Days In, and 60 Days In during COVID, it had already been out, but during COVID, Netflix put it on their platform, and millions of people watched 60 Days In at that point. And so we started really gaining a lot of notoriety there. But really, where the leadership piece came in is it took me about 2 or 3 years to get my agency to believe in us. They had battered wife syndrome. They had that, flinch every time something happens. And so we would say, why do you think this is going to happen if you do this? Well, because that's what used to happen. No, that's not what we're doing here. You need to trust us. And we had to push that trust, and we had to earn it on the captain level. We had to earn it on the lieutenant level. Probably the lieutenants was the hardest level for us to gain. The guys on the line level, we did things like saying, hey, you don't have to cover your tattoos. As long as they're not obscene, we're good. You can wear facial hair. We started to make these little adjustments, so we started getting the support of the line level guys. Same with the sergeants. We struggled with the lieutenants. The messaging was we were delivering the messaging, and it was getting jacked up between captains and sergeants. So lieutenants so we had to earn their trust. It took about 2-3 years, and after that, once they realized, and we proved time and time again, if you're in a shooting or you rough somebody up, and that we had their back, that that they were part of a family, that we were, and not in a way that we're not condoning, if you broke the law, then we're going to hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. But in a way that said, you did your job, you did it right, we're with you. And so that took us a few years. And then the community, they started getting on board pretty much right away with the Live PD. And since then, we've just continued to build on it. I look at it as like a bank account. In law enforcement, you can make deposits. That's your good stuff you do. Your little videos. You're saving a dog, pulling a cat out of a tree, saving somebody from a fentanyl overdose. Those are the little deposits. Because the withdrawals will come. And the withdrawals are heavy. You take it like what happened in Minnesota in 2020. If they would have had a better bank account, that withdrawal would have probably not hurt as bad. But it ended up not only hurting them, it hurt the rest of the country in law enforcement. And so what we've always believed in is you got to build your bank account of trust with your community. Small deposits, constantly. And when the big things come, it's okay. You got enough to cover it. Your community trusts you enough to know that that's a one-off. That's not normal. And so, but that started years before with us making those small deposits.
Man, that's smart thinking. No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.